You think if Spider-Man and Wolverine teamed up, they could never lose? You are dead wrong. There's one guy who can make them both look like little kids just learning how to fight. His name is Dreadshadow, and in front of him, even a top-tier superhero like Spider-Man is nothing more than a pathetic victory trophy. Just look at the scene. In the middle of a destroyed and burning city, Dreadshadow stands tall without a single scratch on him. His huge, red, glowing cybernetic arms casually grip a symbiote-suited Spider-Man, lifting him as if he were light as a feather. Beneath his feet, a pile of other enemies lies unconscious. Wolverine might be one of them, or maybe he's already been defeated somewhere else. Yikes. What's clear is, this isn't a fight, it's a slaughter. Spider-Man is helpless, completely in Dreadshadow's grasp. There's no more fight left, no more hope. His strength and agility seem useless. Oof. Now, this iconic hero is truly at the mercy of Dreadshadow, and we can only wonder what worse end awaits the two of them. Long before they became solid teammates, there was a time when Spider-Man and Wolverine were two heroes with vastly different methods, and that difference could spell disaster. The story begins years ago. Spider-Man, in his black suit, and Wolverine just happened to be in the same place when an assassin for hire named the Enforcer attacked a SWAT van full of cops. The Enforcer fires brutally, and Spider-Man immediately springs into action, disabling his guns with a web. However, this is where the real conflict begins. While Spider-Man tries to handle the situation in a controlled way, the notoriously impatient Wolverine immediately lunges forward with his claws out. Oh boy. Spider-Man realizes the danger when he spots the target or a key witness trying to flee the scene. The threat from the Enforcer might have been neutralized by Spider-Man's webs, but now a new, bigger problem emerges: Wolverine's uncontrollable rage. Panicked, Spider-Man yells, "Logan, don't!" trying to stop Wolverine before he does something fatal to the person running away. What if the person you've always considered a friend and a comrade in arms turned out to be your parents' killer? The story jumps to the present. Behind the scenes, Dr. Octopus confronts Dreadshadow, aka Enigma, about their plan. Meanwhile, a mysterious narration declares that all the pieces have been moved to where they should, signaling that a grand plan is reaching its climax. Talk about ominous. In the middle of the smoke and chaos, Spider-Man finds a horrifying sight: Wolverine, down and helpless on the ground. Standing over him is Teresa, holding a smoking gun. In horrified disbelief, Spider-Man asks her, "Teresa, what did you do?" Her answer is a revelation that shatters everything. The climax of the page is Teresa's cold reply: "I killed the man who killed our parents." This confession not only implies that Teresa believes she just killed Wolverine, but it also reveals a fact that changes Peter Parker's life forever: that Logan was the one responsible for their parents' death. A truth revealed from the darkest corner of the internet changes everything. A video file becomes proof that the Parker family tragedy was no mere accident, but a conspiracy. 2 days ago, Teresa found a file named the Janus Directory on the dark web. Inside, she found a video of their parents' final moments, including the horrific footage of their plane crashing. The biggest revelation was that Teresa herself was on that plane as a baby. "I was on the plane, Peter," and she survived the fatal crash. Based on that video evidence, Teresa furiously accuses Wolverine of being the one who worked for the enemy and brought the plane down. Spider-Man tries to mediate, but it's too late. Wolverine, having recovered from Teresa's gunshot, rises with explosive rage. "Arg!" His sharp claws drawn, and he is not happy. Surprisingly, the target of Wolverine's fury isn't Teresa, the one who just shot him. With a savage look, he lunges forward, apparently straight for Spider-Man. The page closes with Spider-Man's second panicked scream of the series: "Logan, don't!" as he braces for a brutal assault from the man he considered an ally. What a turn of events! When heroes stop fighting villains and start fighting each other, who's actually in the right? This is the moment where the line between hero and killer becomes terrifyingly blurry. The chaos begins with internal conflict. Spider-Man struggles desperately to hold back an enraged Wolverine from killing Teresa. In the middle of this tense standoff, the mastermind, Dreadshadow, appears. He's not here to fight, but to enjoy the spectacle of heroes ready to kill each other, commenting, "Well, isn't this appropriate? Spider-Man trying to turn a Wolverine away from murder. What an entrance!" Their internal fight is suddenly interrupted by a massive explosion. Dreadshadow doesn't just attack them physically, but mentally as well. He judges them, declaring that they aren't true heroes because they never see the consequences of their actions. In his eyes, Spider-Man is just an irresponsible man. Wolverine is without honor, and Teresa is just a killer by other means. He's not just fighting them, he's taking them apart. The climax of it all is revealed in Dreadshadow's fury. While unleashing a deadly barrage of missiles, he screams the reason behind everything. "My daughter is dead because of you!" It turns out this was never about power or money, but a burning personal revenge against the three people he holds responsible for his child's death. One act of mercy, one decision not to kill. What if that single heroic act was the very trigger for a tragedy that gave birth to a vengeful monster? This all began years ago. As we discussed at the start, Spider-Man and Wolverine faced the assassin for hire, the Enforcer. Instead of finishing him off, Spider-Man chose to show mercy and sent him to the Raft super prison. They thought they had done the right thing. Wrong they were. However, that mercy became a curse. The Enforcer escaped, and during his rampage, he killed a little girl named Evelyn. That girl's father was none other than the Enforcer himself, who was shattered by grief and rage until he transformed into Dreadshadow. Now, in the present, he executes his plan for revenge, manipulating Teresa with the Janus Directory and pitting the heroes against each other to prove one thing, that they are not true heroes. At the climax, Dreadshadow reveals everything. He is the Enforcer, the man they let live. While raining down brutal attacks on them, he screams the bitter truth. "My daughter is dead because of you!" All of this chaos is the fruit of their kindness from the past. In the end, as seen on the comic's cover, Spider-Man and Wolverine must face the heaviest consequence of their actions, kneeling and helpless before the very man they indirectly created. How do you defeat a hero? Not with strength, but by whispering the bitter truths they already doubt about themselves. Dreadshadow finally reveals his hand. Using the Janus Directory, he learned every secret of Spider-Man and Wolverine. He admits the video Teresa found was a deception he intentionally planted to pit them against each other, proving just how easy it was to make them turn on one another. Classic villain monologue. After a brutal fight, the heroes are faced with a moral choice. Wolverine is ready to finish off Dreadshadow, but Spider-Man stops him, insisting they do it the right way and take him to prison. Dreadshadow just challenges them, because if Wolverine kills him, it will only prove his argument that they are all just killers hiding behind masks. The ultimate test? Justice or vengeance? However, the end of the story comes from an unexpected direction. Teresa appears and coldly stabs and shoots Dreadshadow, stating, "I never was one." But even this was part of Dreadshadow's plan. He rises one last time, calling them pathetic and predictable, before self-destructing in a massive explosion. His final message is an eternal reminder. They can't change their true natures, a truth that he proved with his own life. After the dust of battle settles, what's left? Not victory, but a heavy question. What does it mean to be a hero in a world that isn't black and white? Heavy stuff. On a rooftop, among the remnants of the fight, Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Teresa reflect. There's no celebration. Spider-Man admits that Dreadshadow might have had a point. He begins to doubt, maybe we make mistakes, and when we do, we'd have to be gods to fix them. Wolverine, in his own way, tries to remind Peter not to get too lost in doubt and Dreadshadow's perspective. The conflict is no longer against a villain, but a conflict within the heroes themselves. Spider-Man looks back at Dreadshadow's tragedy, a father who lost his daughter, and finally manages to see everything from the villain's point of view. That's a tough pill to swallow. In the end, they don't find an easy answer, but a new, more mature understanding. Wolverine concludes the new meaning of being a hero. It means stepping up when guys like us put innocent people in jeopardy. They accept that they make tough choices that are sometimes wrong. Their decision not to kill the Enforcer in the past was a different call than Dreadshadow would have made, but that doesn't mean it was the wrong one. They accept their imperfections and are ready to move forward, wiser than before. After the fight is over, often the hardest enemy to face is the truth. A final recording becomes a window into a past that is both painful and liberating. 1 week later, at Rand Enterprises, Peter Parker and Wolverine finally witness the real truth. They watch the recording of Richard and Mary Parker's final mission, seeing with their own eyes how Peter's parents fought against Red Skull's assassins before their plane exploded. Choom! For Peter, it's a soul-crushing moment as he hears the last messages of love from his parents. After all the accusations and misunderstandings, Logan sincerely apologizes to Peter for the whole mess. However, Peter waves it off, showing a maturity and a bond of friendship that is now stronger than ever. Payoff/resolution. However, this answer just opens up more questions. Teresa realizes she wasn't actually on the plane, making her origins a mystery once again. Peter even suggests this whole mess might have been part of a cosmic conspiracy orchestrated by Mojo. The story closes not with a happy ending, but with the reality of being a Haround defined. Logan reminds Peter, they'll, the villains, always be out there, Pete. The battle may be over, but the fight never truly ends. A villain's death should be the end of a story. But what if that death itself is the first step in a much larger, more terrifying plan? In a secret location, a gathering of top-tier villains takes place. Dr. Octopus leads the discussion, confirming that Dreadshadow is dead, destroyed by his own weapons. To them, like Kraven the Hunter, Dreadshadow's death is simply the end of a poor hunter. However, Mysterio, the master of illusion, reveals a shocking truth. He states that Dreadshadow's death was not a failure. On the contrary, the way Dreadshadow blew himself up succeeded in doing one important thing. He brought you all together. As a final closing, the ultimate purpose of this whole tragedy is revealed. Dreadshadow's death and all the suffering he caused was merely a catalyst to unite a group of the world's deadliest villains. Inside Mysterio's helmet, we see their faces. Dr. Octopus, Kraven, Omega Red, united for an unknown purpose. The story of Spider-Man and Wolverine may be over for now, but a much greater threat has just begun. To be continued.